What's up guys, I just finished a full run of Lorerim's 4.2 update, every major boss, all DLCs and the new Vigilant quest mod completely demolished. The whole thing took about 52 hours live on stream, and my Barbarian steamrolled through even on Legendary with Vigilant's MCM cranked to the max with 100% extra boss HP and 10 times the attack power scaling. Today's build? Well, it's a drunken barbarian so loud and strong it breaks the laws of cooldowns, infinite shouts powered by boos and bonks so big, I think it'd make Malacath blush. Welcome to the most lore-accurate Dragonborn build Lorerim's ever seen. Even after Biggie removed a patch that was scaling critical damage with an extra 0 maybe added onto it, we still dished out disgusting damage while being almost untouchable thanks to layers of evasion, resistances, and our shouts. I'll be covering an optimized start, early to endgame gearing, perks, traits, and all the other things that you'll need to begin the bonkening yourself. So to get started, this build requires you to play as a Nord. They have great starting stats and have both cooldown reduction and stronger shouts, with a clear preference to melee power attacks, all of which is a major focus of this build. For your deity, we're picking the 9th Divine Talos. You'll need to become devoted before you see the real benefits kick in though, which halves our shout cooldown whenever an enemy dies near us. The blessing is even more shout cooldown, which is a major stat that we'll be focusing on. So start your character, call it whatever you want. We're going to go with the Lover Stone for even more shout cooldown and an extra whopping bonus of 25 to your speech skill, which is fantastic, and the increase avoid physical damage is also nice too. These are the major traits you want: two-handed, speech and evasion, and then you want to have smithing, enchanting, alteration and wayfarer, and then you can add block and archery if you like. For traits, you could go for Dover Tinvac early if you wanted to speedrun to shout cooldown. However, I recommend getting focus combat for your third trait and picking Bane of the Wicked and Giantkin for your first two traits. Make sure you pick the Dragonborn start so that we can head straight to the Greybeards. Once you've spawned in, ignore this guy and head straight to Climic to get a little quest to put some supplies in the Greybeard's chest. You should also spawn with an awesome two-handed sword called the Blade of Whiterun that has no charge but grants fire damage, excellent for dealing with trolls early on, which we might see along the way. As for your 3 starting perks, we're tripling down on two-handed damage. Head up to High Hrothgar and let's go see the Greybeards.
Dragonborn appears at this moment.
Just arriving here should get you a level up, so let's get that out of the way first. We're going to take two-handed Speechcraft, Evasion, Smithing and Enchanting. For your perks, just pick up the Agility trait. You could go and get Dodge, but we're going to save the other point first, and we're going to immediately just follow up with the quests from the Greybeards here and get another level up. Now that we have this extra level, we're going to go with two-handed Speechcraft and Evasion with Enchanting. Now we save that extra perk point so that we can get Battle Muse to travel up to Boozy Bard. This perk removes the negative effects of booze, and we're going to be utilising this quite extensively. The Greybeards are going to leave to go outside to the courtyard to show you the Whirlwind Sprint, but before you do that you can go over here and steal the Greybeard's doll from underneath the bed here. You're going to have to crouch into sneak in order to see it. It's here. Now this is class as stealing until after you get the Horn of Windcaller back. So you could wait to do this. You don't have to do this now, but I'm just showing you it here as we're here. So do what you want with that. Progress the quest a little bit and then you're going to head straight over to Whiterun. Maybe kill the giant outside with the companions to get a bit more XP and go to Jorvaska to discover. You should probably get another level up at this stage, so this is what I chose. As for perks, you can either take the Dodge perk or Light Armor Training, whichever your preference is. You're going to pick up both of these eventually, so whichever one you like. And don't forget to pick up the Blessing of Talos from the shrine here. Next, join the companions and pick up Farkas's quest.
Good luck. Welcome to the companions.
Before we do that, we're going to go over to Solitude and the Winking Skeever and pick up Katana and skip her quest. That's the second dialogue option, and then you need to answer 3 questions, which is Taikyo.
Little boy, what nickname did Megara give you?
Banditsbane.
Excellent. Where does Megara like to stay in Whiterun?
and the Drunken Huntsman,
Maybe I'm
which
making it
ironically
too
is the
easy.
next destination on our list. Go and speak to Megara. She'll do some dialogue, and then the second time you speak to her, you should be able to ask her to join. Now head over to Falkreath. We're going to do our first major quest, and we're going to go and speak to Sinding to get the Cursed Ring of Hircine and do his quest. Our goal here is to side with Hircine and get Saviour's Hide. But along the way, we're going to pick up a couple of very useful items for this. Let's call it a speed run. Head out of the northeast gate and up the path from Falkreath, and you'll find an unfortunate chap who has sadly passed away after a fall with a glider. Pick up the journal and read it, and you'll get a quest marker to where we need to go in a little bit. Head further up the path, and you're going to encounter your first 2 bandits. It may be 3, this time around there was 2. I'm not sure if there's always 2 or 3. But, yep, summon your companions in and try and let them take a bit of aggro. You can summon your companions by pressing the B key, B for Bravo. Anyway, take these guys out, loot their gear, equip what you can if they have some evasion gear, which is real nice. I was lucky this time round. And then head up to kill the White Stag, and then speak to Hircine. He wants us to kill Sinding, which we're definitely going to do because we want Saviour's Hide. But before we do that, we're going to head over to the Paraglider flight platform here, and we're going to pick up the Paraglider. Now there's a knack to this. If you activate in your inventory in the miscellaneous tab, the Paraglider again, you'll see a small prompt at the top right, and we want no cost so that we can continuously glide. It's a little cheesy, but hey, this is a speedrun to show you where to go. Time to do Bloated Man's Grotto, which is Hircine's quest. Use Tarheel's Gale, the power that you get from picking up the glider. This elevates you and keeps you elevated as we travel all the way over to the grotto. Once you're in the grotto, make sure you speak to this Khajiit. As he dies, you'll be able to pick up his armor, which has got really good base stats and looks quite good with an armor set that we're going to be picking up very, very shortly. Should also have another level up here, so go for two-handed, speechcraft and evasion. As for the perk, pick up light armor training for a bit more power attack damage. As for Sinding himself, he can be a little tricky. Make sure you save beforehand, let your followers get aggro, and then hit him with some big power attacks. We have Katana for a specific reason of being able to lockpick and deal some decent damage, and Megara is also your healer as well, so when you're in a tough spot, she can also heal you. Select yes to take the hide, and Hircine will be very pleased and grant you Saviour's Hide. This gets our character up to 14 magic resistance right now, and 100% poison and disease resistance. Next is the Rift and Ratways to get this guy, who drops a stamina regen ring. Sadly I got the low end roll, but this does roll higher if you get lucky. And Scritch is here. He can be a godly tank because he's unkillable and the size of a rat, so take him if you want. Next is another level up. We're going to go with evasion, speechcraft, and a bit of block and alteration. As for the perk, we're picking up dexterity for power attack cost. Now you can head over to the Eldergrim Sanctuary and pick up this Dragonling. He actually has like a bit of a healing ability if you change him to healing magic when you speak to him. Can be quite annoying, but hey, he's useful for now. Now we need to head over to Lost Knife Hideout for our main weapon for the entire playthrough. So we're looking for this chap here, who drops a very, very unique hammer. A warhammer to be exact. And this is going to be our weapon that we use for the entire playthrough, and it's none other than the Warhammer of Inebriation. What does this do? Well, when we're drunk, we absorb stamina per hit, and if we're dead drunk, even more. Now another level up from that dungeon. We're going to go with Alteration, Block, Two-Handed, and Enchanting. As for the perk, we're going to pick up Devastating Charge for a sprinting power attack with 50% critical hit chance. It's time to try out this Warhammer while blind, drunk and blurry at Valheim Towers for the companion quest. This is the only time that you're going to have to do it blurry, because by the time you've killed all these guys and then gone to Farkas to hand this in, you should have another level and we'll be removing that blur. But as you can see, the Warhammer is an absolute powerhouse, and we're getting stamina back so that we can keep on doing these sprinting power attacks and making raspberry jam of our enemies. You should have another level up by now. If you don't, just farm a few more bandits. We're going to go with Speechcraft, Alteration, Enchanting, and Two-Handed, and then one final point in Wayfarer because it's left over. As for perks, we pick up Devastating Strike. Hand this quest in at Farkas and go and pick up another one. If you don't get to level 10 here, just try and grind a couple more bandits or enemies until you get to level 10. You'll have to just cope with being blurry a little bit longer, I guess. But if you do get to level 10 here, here's the perks that we take. Evasion, Smithing, Alteration, and invest in health. Then we're going to pick up this essential perk, Drunken Combat. This is going to remove the blur and give us 10% more melee attack when we're drunk. Now the bonkening can truly begin without any blurry screen. Just keep on swinging, make sure that you don't get completely surrounded, and, well, if you really need to get a little bit of distance and teleport Megara to you so she can heal you, and then get stuck back in, you should be able to bonk your way through most bandits and Draugr at this point. That should get you another level. We're going to go with Evasion, Two-Handed, and Speechcraft, and Health. Then pick up the Gourmet and the Alchemy Tree. This does buff Alcohol too. Now it's time for Oostengrav to go and get the Horn of Jürgen Wingcaller and farm a bunch of XP fighting mini-bosses and spiders, all that jazz, and then reap the rewards from that. Now it's time to go see Delphine in Riverwood, but before we do that, we should have a level up by now, so let's go and get that sorted. This time we're going to go with Speechcraft, Alteration, Smithing and Enchanting. As for the perk, we're going to pick up Vexing Flanker, which is 25% bonus damage when we hit targets from behind. Very, very strong. Go speak to Delphine, and then it's off to Eldergleam's Sanctuary, because we're going to head to Kyne's Grove from here. Why? Well, we've got to kill 2 more dragons on the way. Yeah, I know what you're thinking. Zen, we're only level 12, but trust me, this build can handle it. Top yourself up with booze, keep your companions close, and clear the area of Draugr. Use the ruins as cover from the dragon's breath and try to lure him out into the open ground for him to land. This will be a tough fight. You need to stay clear of his bite and his tail whip, or you might go flying. And should you get hit by a drain shout, well, make sure you call Megara to you. All I can say is, good luck. One down, 2 more to go, but we've got to level up, so let's hit that real quick. We're going to go with Smithing, Alteration, and Enchanting, with a point into health. Now pick up the Warhammer Focus. Keep heading northeast to find our second dragon. With the second dragon taken care of, it's off to Kyne's Grove and diving straight in to that third dragon just as it crawls out of the pit before it even gets its skin. Well, now that we've got some dragon souls, we should probably get some shouts, right? First one's dead easy, just head to Winterhold and use the glider to get across over to this little island which is above Ysgramor's tomb. There is a ghost Draugr with a very nasty axe, so do save, drink some booze and get your companions here and give it a good old bonk. For the second word for Predator's Might, go to Angevund, south from Iverstead, just glide over. As for the third word, you want to go to Ancient's Ascent, which is southeast from Falkreath and does have a dragon for another soul. And we're going to go and pick up Kyne's Peace, which is our heal shout. Head to Shroud Hearth Barrow, which is right next to Iverstead. You can't miss this one. Then all the way west, just north of Malacath, we're going to go to Ragnarvold. And then in the mainland, Ranaveg's Happy hunting. First, some combat tips. Now to try and really figure out how to play the build effectively. First of all, go to mod configuration and scroll down till you find one-click power attack. Go to main settings and set the keybind to whatever you find really comfortable. I have this on mouse 4. Using this button while sprinting should do a leap slam attack, which is extremely useful for knocking down enemies and staggering. Backstrafing and pressing the button should do what I call the poop shunt, which is attack where it kind of looks like you're shoving it in someone's pooper. And it does an absolute shit ton of damage, so use that when you can. If you hold left click and backstrafe, you do like a double combo where you swing round and poop shunt, so that's also something you can do if you have the window to do so. Each individual word of the shout from Predator's Might stacks on top of each other, so the single one, the double one, and then the triple one all add together. Once you get perma-shouts, which we will discuss in the endgame section of this video coming up, you'll fit this into a buff rotation as you're dealing with bosses. Now for Wheeler. Press the home button to open the D menu, go to mod config, Wheeler controls, controls, input binding, and mouse and keyboard. Get something comfortable that you're used to and you want to set next wheel and previous wheel. Some of them should be already set up anyway, but make sure you save at the bottom before exiting this menu. To add more slots, the default keybind is N, and if you want to remove one, right click the empty slot. To add a spell, open your spell inventory and then hold Wheeler and then assign it to the slot that you want and left click. Even more essential is favoriting your shouts. So as an example here, Clear Skies, favorite it, and then in the favorites menu you're going to press a hotkey from 1 to 8. Let's just press 8. And now anytime I press the 8 number on my hotkeys, it's going to cast the shout immediately. Really recommend you get used to this because there is an issue with combat reflexes where if you slow down time with combat reflexes and then activate the Wheeler, instead of slowing down time it actually speeds everything up rapidly, and when you're fighting endgame bosses this can be quite dire indeed. Let's talk shout cooldowns. First of all, Requiem has a system where when you use words, learn words and master words, you're going to gain an extra percentage in cooldown. This is actually huge, but it does take a while to build up. Remember me telling you to pick up those 2 dolls? Well, yep, the Dragonborn and the Greybeard doll definitely add a little bit. If you still need a little bit more, you can also use the Amulet of Ocatos, but it's something you would swap out as soon as you don't need it. When you get to Skyhaven Temple, where the sword is, there is a book next to it to learn Draconic Smithing. You're still going to need Smithing 100 to get this, but it gives you a whopping 20% for wearing a full set of Dragon Scale armor. Don't forget the Blessing of Talos, and if you're a devotee to Talos, when you kill an enemy you're going to reduce your shout cooldown by 50%. This is helpful before you get perma-shouts, but once you have full perma-shouts regardless of Blessing, we'll be going with Malacath for a 40% power attack damage increase. You could take Dover Tinvac for your third trait. I certainly did this on my speedrun, but it's just because I was impatient and I wanted to get that 100% shout to fight Mirak. But I would recommend waiting and just spending it on focus combat and grinding out a bit more word knowledge so that you just get natural cooldown and pick up focus combat instead. Time to discuss what the full build looks like as we hit endgame. Here's the perk trees. Starting out with evasion, we moved all the way up and the first priority is getting combat reflexes. All these other nodes here are nice to haves, but the real one that you want to pick up as soon as possible is combat reflexes. This slows time by 50% and is spammable because we have infinite stamina at this point, so that you can keep slowing down bosses. We'll get to that in a boss rotation, but we'll move on now to Wayfarer, We dropped all our followers when we hit endgame, and we're now Lone Wolf, going up to Solo, Maverick, and One-Man Legion. For speech, we picked up all the shout cooldown nodes as much as we can, and Destructive Urge is nice to boost your shouts, Indomitable Force is nice for defense, and Spiritual Equilibrium is just nice for the buffs to last longer. As for Alchemy, we took the second perk of Drunken Combat. Don't forget this one, it's an extra 10% damage, because we're always drunk. As for Alteration, this is something that we'd spec'd into but not really spent points in. The main thing to get here is the magic resistance, and the quality of life nice to haves is this tree up here for all the way up to Master, so that we can access deep storage and Ocatos Recital for some buffs as we enter combat. Enchanting, pretty straightforward, just take all the nodes that increase your enchantments, and then that final node at the top is one that you have to spend a perk point just to craft a 3-socket enchantment item. We did that once on the chest, but we'll get for that with gearing. Smithing's pretty decked out, but it is mainly the draconic smithing that you need. Everything else is just a nice to have. We did take 1 point in block, but I don't really know if it's that necessary. We did end up blocking quite a bit of hits in Vigilant though. Now you want to make sure that you're picking up the rest of the Warhammer focused nodes here. Onslaught is huge, and Critical Slam is what we're scaling big damage with every point of stamina giving more critical damage. Hyper Armor for more poise damage, even more poise damage with Mighty Strike, and then we have Warbringer for even more damage. We're staggering a lot with this build, and it's going to synergize really well with our Destiny perk tree. Speaking of which, we are going straight down the middle and then up to Saboteur. So it's Constitution for a little bit more regen, 5% more weapon damage, Battle Spirit for more power attack, regen on stamina, 10% chance to evade attacks, and then Saboteur, 15% chance to stagger enemies, and you deal 20% more damage against staggered enemies. Now this, stacking with all the poise damage and stuff we have, is just incredible. For Ocatos Recital, I chose Shock Shell, Bounce, and Haste on Self. These three are interchangeable, you don't have to use these. None of them are really that much required, but they are nice to have. If you want to use deep storage when you're in Vigilant, you're going to need to make sure you've killed Mirac first so that you can put on his set, so that you can actually afford to cast it, as you won't have enough mana with this build as standard. But with the Mirac set, you can actually cast this. Time to talk bossing. A mild spoilers for Vigilant, as this is the last boss. Scaled up with Legendary and the Vigilant MCM cranked to the max. See our damage here? 484. Time to buff, but this is what we have enchanting. Triple enchants with two-handed 27% damage. And then the Might of Talos is our chest. More two-handed damage, and the Mirac helmet here. Using an upgrade kit, we're going to get a little bit more damage on our Warhammer. Up to 581. Now we're going to drink the best booze that we have. And our damage is now 697. Time to ramp everything up with Dragon Aspect and our Bardic Knowledge. This brings our damage on Legendary difficulty to 725. Stack your Predator's Might buffs and you are good to go. Open with a Leap Slam, get them on the ground, Combat Reflexes slow time, and then Poop Shunt them in the back. Once they get up, reset the combo. We're trying to stack the Stagger with a back attack for Vexing Flanker and a nice juicy crit for Critical Slam to get big damage. If you were to play this on the default Lorerim settings, you would probably 2 to 3 shot him. So once you're at endgame, try to set things at Legendary and crank that MCM up, otherwise the boss fight will feel a little unfulfilling. In these prolonged fights, it's important to maintain all 3 words of Predator's Might, so keep them cast and use combat reflexes offensively more than defensively. What I mean by that is, once you knock an opponent down is when you want to be smashing that combat reflex. If you need to go on the defensive, of course, an enemy's doing a huge combo or something and the combat reflex just helps slow time down and get out of the way, then by all means do so, but just make sure that you're maintaining it during that damage window. You don't want to lose out on DPS because of that. We're also using Mark for Death to debuff enemies a little bit. but I'm not sure how effective it is, but it seems to work okay. So if you see a projectile shout being thrown out, that's what it is. I'll let the boss fight play out now so you can see the rotation a bit more clearly. Thank you for watching this video. If it helped you out, or you simply enjoyed it, please consider subscribing and liking the video. Ciao for now.
My long-lost daughter returns at last. I trust you have my elder scroll.
After all these years, that's the first thing you ask me? Yes, I have the scroll.
Of course, I'm delighted to see you, my daughter. Must I really say the words aloud? Ah, if only your traitor mother were here. I would let her watch this reunion before putting her head on a spike. Now tell me, who is this stranger you have brought into our...
10 out of 10.